Like probably most golf fans over the last 40 years, I've looked at the things that Tiger Woods does and wondered why, even after the number of back surgeries that he's had, he's still able to be not just competitive, but world class, decade on decade. Let's have a look at the things that he's been doing over decades that we might be able to copy into our own games and you into your game to help you play the best golf you possibly can. There are three things we're going to look at today, which from afar and also from listening to Tiger and his coaches and what he has done consistently over a long period of time, that we can adapt into our own games to help ourselves play our best golf. The first of them is what happens at setup and at the very beginning of his takeaway. Now, so many players that I see when they start their swing, they either start with a poor grip because it feels comfortable, doesn't necessarily mean it's functional, and as they start the backswing contains a lot of unnecessary movement. So the first thing, when you hold the club correctly, your best opportunity to play good shots is to start with what is a fairly neutral grip. Now, what do I mean by that? I mean that when you hold the club with your left hand, the grip's running through the base of your fingers, your left thumb's running slightly off center to the right, and when you look down at the back of your hand, holding the club up here like I am, you can see 2, maybe 3 knuckles on the back of the hand. Because my thumb and forefinger are touching, in my case, the knuckle on my thumb and the base knuckle on my forefinger point up to my right shoulder. When I hold the club with my right hand, I'm holding it so that the bottom of the grip runs across the first joints of my middle and ring finger and the end joint of my forefinger. Now, when I close my hand, my left thumb is running through the middle of the palm of my right hand, running straight down it. So that means that my right thumb is actually sitting slightly left side of center. When I hold the club that way, the thumb and forefinger again are touching like on my left hand, and also like on my left hand, that line that's formed between them points up to about my right shoulder. So when I start off that way, and I didn't when I was young, when I started off, I had my hands twisted around here, and I empathize with players whose grips I improve by getting them correctly, because it does take a little bit of time, isn't very comfortable to start with, only because you're not sure of the orientation of the club face and how it's going to move. It changes the whole swing and changes the balance of it, which is also the reason why it's important to hold the club correctly in the first place. Now, once you have got yourself set up correctly, the first movement of the takeaway, and we see this with virtually every single great player, certainly with Tiger, as the club starts back, there's this movement where the arms and the club and the upper body all start to move together. The lower body's pretty quiet for the start of the swing. Now, when the club starts back, it's starting back with the club and the arms and the upper body moving at the same rate. And the reason that I explain it like that is because there's no tension there to make it feel like it's a one-piece movement, which sort of tends to make you think of tension and holding position so that you can go back. I'm quite light through my shoulders, through my arms. My hands, my fingers are firm, but there's no excessive tension in my arms at all. Then as I start back, not only have I got the club moving back very much together with my upper body at the start of the swing, but also looking from down the line, as I start back, the club's swinging back without lifting, without moving behind me, and also without twisting as I go back. So the motion is actually really, really simple. Then as I continue that movement, to the end of the backswing, my body will continue to rotate, and now I've got control of the club head and club face as I get to the end of the backswing. So that's the first key, is set yourself up properly to begin with, start with a good grip, and then at the beginning of the takeaway, make it a nice free motion. It doesn't have to be super slow, and Tiger's isn't slow. Just start it off nice and freely. That's the first thing that we want to do. One thing that's definitely changed over time for Tiger, and it typically changes for most players over their golfing lifetime, is how the hips move and the speed and explosive movement that they have. When he was younger, he would get to the top of the swing and his hips would turn massively. There's a huge amount of torque developed through the spine, and that's unsustainable as you get old, as we start to age. And when I say age, I'm not talking about my age. I'm talking about going from being a teenager, early 20s, even into your 30s. So what we need to do instead is look more at how the movement should occur so that momentum is transferred through the body and into the arms and the club. So when I swing the club down, as I start my downswing, my hips are going to move first. That generates an elasticity through my upper body, a torque through my upper body. Now, as I continue to move my hips, my upper body will begin to catch up. Now, part of that catching up is my hips will actually slow to allow my upper body to catch up. Then we get that same movement sequence occurring not just with hips and shoulders, but also with arms and hands and club. So when I swing the club from the top of the swing, my hips are gaining speed. They'll probably reach their peak speed about here somewhere. They'll turn to about here. Now they're going to slow. Now my shoulders begin to slow, and that allows the arms and the club to swing into the ball. So I'm not trying to twist my hips out of the way with a massive speed, which creates great stress through my body and, like I said, is unsustainable. But I'm allowing this momentum to transfer. So if we have a look at all great swings, we'll see that if you watch close as the player gets to impact, the hips appear to nearly stop. They're slowing down quite a lot. So club gets to the top of the swing, hips are moving first, hips will slow, then upper body slows, and arms and club catch up. So I'm actually practicing moving into the ball this way rather than trying to spin my body out of the way. So we'll see that with all good players. As the players get older, the senior golfers, that becomes even more noticeable. Their movements are designed to allow them to continue playing for longer and longer periods of time. So they're going to be doing things that are going to put less stress on the body. So let's start off, regardless of age, to do things that are going to be much more healthy for your body. The third thing that Tiger does, again, all great players do, and I read about this when I read Jack Nicklaus's book, Golf My Way, when I was a teenager just starting off playing golf. He called it going to the movies in your golf. So essentially what that means is, and certainly in Tiger's case, is you're creating this mental blueprint for the shot you want to play. So I have a look down the fairway at my target or around the green, whatever shot I've got, and I begin imagining what I want to have happen. So yes, I'm using the visual cues, but I'm also using other cues like what's the feel of the swing that I want to make, especially when it's a short shot. You'll see very few players who don't have a practice swing on the short shots. They may not have a practice swing on the full swings, but certainly with the shorter shots they will have. So getting the feel of the motion in the body. The other thing too is they're likely to repeat it a couple of times, and what they're looking for is almost a confirmation that says, yes, this practice swing feels right. So when they have that practice swing, how does the club meet the ground when they swing through? They're looking for, again, confirmation the club's going to strike the ground correctly. So this blueprint is not just visual. They might even imagine the sound of the club striking the ball correctly. So if we think of it as a total mental blueprint or a total shot blueprint, that it's got the visual elements of it, I'm seeing the flight of the ball, I'm imagining myself swinging the club, hitting the shot. Even if I'm not moving, I can still feel that movement in my body. If I have a practice swing, I'm imagining the sound of contact, and I'm listening to how the club hits the ground, even with those couple of little swings that I made there, and I'm looking for confirmation that that's correct. So when you're playing your own shots, start to develop this, and in fact, develop it in practice. So you're standing on the range, you might have a pile of balls in front of you, you've got one immediately in front of you. Stand back from the ball, look down to your target. Imagine the flight of the ball through the air exactly as you want to trace it, going to your target. Imagine the feeling of creating that shot, the sound of the shot, and maybe even the feel of the contact on the club face, that centered contact. Once you've established that then go ahead and play the shot. And it's almost like you're playing the shot for the second time when you actually swing the club and hit the ball doing that. So the three key things we covered were looking at how you hold the club correctly, getting the start of the takeaway nice and smooth. That'll set you up for the rest of the swing to be pretty good, give you the best chance of it anyway. The second thing is we looked at being more kind to your body, so moving correctly and efficiently without the violence that can create stresses through your body. And the final thing, we looked at developing that mental blueprint which incorporates the visual, the physical, and even emotional elements of it to start off, to again give you the best chance of recreating the shot that you're imagining in the first place. If you like these ideas and want to find out more about how you can hit the ball better yourself, make better contact, then you can download the free videos which I've got linked in the description below. I look forward to helping you with your shot better. If you do like this video, click the like and subscribe, share it with your friends, and even send me a comment about what you've found when you're practicing these items and see what happens in your own golf swing.